with an increasing number of individuals and organizations actively working to reduce their carbon footprint. The concept of zero waste and circularity is driving innovative approaches to create products. And through this seminar, we try to explore innovative strategies, collaborative efforts, and sustainable practices that will guide us towards a more environmentally conscious and circular future and help in shaping a more responsible and resilient world. So our first speaker here is Mr. Manoj Kumar Upadhyay. He is a Deputy Advisor, Energy Vertical, Niti Aayog, Government of India. Prior to Niti Aayog, Mr. Upadhyay was working with the Ministry of MSME and was instrumental in establishing the techno-managerial consultancy of two MSMEs. He's also worked with different private MNCs organizations in different capacities and has published his research and insights, and he is a trained consultant in environment impact assessment of projects, project management and energy conservation. Mr. Upadhyay has been working on government policy and regulations related to energy vision, net zero emission pathways, clean energy, translation, waste to energy, bilateral relationship in energy sector, and so on. So without any further ado, I now request Mr. Manoj Kumar Upadhyay, if he can hear me, to kindly begin his presentation.
Yes, hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. So, as you briefed about my profile, so right now I'm in Niti Aayog and I have a bad experience working in the school sector. It was not very long, but it was big, 1.5 years. Before that I was engaged in the project management of different projects. I have some issues in my slides and I don't know whether you are able to see. And it is moving or not, so I don't know.
No, we can just see your first introductory slide.
So I'm also trying to move it, but I don't know how to do this. I also consulted give you 1 minute.
Yes.
Now, can you see this thing?
Yes, we can see your next slide, but just requesting you to be a little louder, please.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yes, sir, you may continue.
Yeah, please, thank you. So can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm audible?
Yes, sir, now it's okay.
Thank you very much. So today I was given this topic about driving traditional and reducing impact for sustainable pathway in the sector. My major work is basically in energy transition. It is concerned with the entire energy transition at a country level and state level. So I accepted this request from Mr. Rajat because I had prior experience in the SME sector and I request a lot of interest in the handicraft sector. So my presentation is divided into two portions. One where we are going to discuss about the clean energy transition right now and what handicraft is planning, what are the PM announcement, and how we can see the different aspect of temperature rise and emission now this and what is our policy to manage it and take it forward to the net zero 2070. And then 2-3 slides about focus about the handicraft sector and their sustainability aspect and the sustainability aspects. So I am right now going to discuss about the climate impact and climate change and the humanity. So this slide basically indicates about that human intervention and we can see there is two paths. One path where there is a rise in the emissions temperature to see the IPCC, and we talk about 1.5 degree temperature containment to take it to pre-industrial era. So this is what is concern about concern for us also in terms of concern for the entire world, the globe. Though people are not discussing the total division of the temperature right now, this thing we discuss at a global level. We have to work somewhere to take it at a trickle down effect at how the lower segments, other sectors can include, can be included in that process. The second slide is about the rise of temperatures and the weather impact. So this we can see that temperature is rising, and there is a very high impact of rise of temperature, especially the flooding and the biodiversity loss. And we have seen this impact, and we see that there is a lower temperature, then the impact is low. This is connected to the first slide. Now we can see the global primary energy consumption versus power scenario. So why this slide and why now I want to talk about Indian prospect in the group, which is part of discussion about Indian emission target and global benchmarks. If we see that in comparison of coal, and oil and gas, and solar and wind and nuclear and other resources of the primary energy mix, we can see the solar and wind, we are at par and we are ahead somewhere from global status. So for the coal and gas, we don't have much gas and we have a lot of coal, and our entire economy is based on right now on the coal. So our consumption of the coal is higher than the global average because our nuclear share is lower. As we have to import a lot of technology from outside of India, the global nuclear share of primary energy is high. In comparison, we see that by in 2021 BP statistics, we see that nuclear and RE percentage was 14%. And in our scenario, the ISS, that is our internal tool, we see that we have a 16% RE and nuclear scenario. So if we compare the primary energy consumption where the share of renewable energy, especially the non-fossil fuel, we are at par with the global average. Then this is about the projection of net zero, that what trend we have to adopt. So this is not adopted by Government of India. This is not Government of India slide. This is the research done by different institute, and also we supported that one. If we see that the line of state something that is start by 1990 and go to 2070, and we see that policy as usual scenario, and then we can see that what is our path for achieving the net zero, and what are the total emission that is going to happen. And if we see that the accelerated scenario where we wanted to adopt new policy, especially that we are going to discuss that what policy Government of India has adopted and what other policy that we are bringing. So we adopt new policy, definitely that emission can be lower down and we can easily achieve our target by 2070. And if there is more aggressive scenario, and shift that we can also achieve our target by 2050. So this is the current energy mix. Today's energy mix is 4 slides that I have given for the demonstration. And this is the main slide, how India is going to balance energy requirement, because we have to think about energy security, environmental security, and energy equity. So this is basically a energy trilemma for us, that without hampering our growth, because there is a much discussion about growth versus energy requirement, and because we have not achieved that double-digit growth that is required. Before that, we wanted to cut down a lot of emission. Though Indian emission in compared to global is very less. It is almost less, because we have only 1.5 or 2 ton per person emission in India, and globally is almost 20 ton per person compared to the developed country. So we have to balance out this energy dilemma, and by balancing this energy dilemma, our another Prime Minister has announced updated indices where we have included 50% installed capacity from non-fossil fuel by 2030. 2015 level. And then additionally the carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 million ton, which is going to be additional forest cover. And obviously we know that we have to achieve net zero by 2070 by balancing this energy dilemma. And the policy that Government of India initiated to balance out the entire requirement. Initially we have started with the National Solar Mission, then the National Offshore Wind Policy. All this is public domain. I'm not going to discuss on this thing because the focus is something different. Then the National Biofuel Policy, then this program. Then to make ourselves possible, we have started the Advanced Chemistry Science PLI scheme, then solar PV module PLI scheme, and right now the green hydrogen mission, which is must start then the tender already has been completed for the first stage. Apart from these policies that we have divided our strategy by saying that what would be the in India's energy transition path. So we see that if we can increase electrification, because currently our electrification is 18%, 18%, and if we increase our electrification and we electrify major part of our economy, we can easily achieve this energy dilemma and our commitment. Then to electrify the entire economy, maybe half the economy, we require to penetrate a lot of clean energy, especially in the primary use. Now, secondly, primary use. Then obviously the energy efficiency technology that ESL has started, especially the LED bulb, then FAT scheme, and then it started a program that already implementation. And then digitalization of entire energy sector, so this is going to reduce our losses and to give us accountability by how much we are using. And obviously the circular economy where we have to produce and consume and circulate entire material so that our dependency on the import of material, especially that new technology can be minimized, and the material efficiency that we have to achieve through research and develop. These are some technologies that we are discussing right now. So this industrial decarbonization we are going to do by adopting this coal gasification program, which right now announced in the cabinet meeting and also in the budget. Then carbon capture utilization, this is a policy in progress which is going to be a major breakthrough for the India, because power sector is largely contributing in the emission, and if we are going to implement CCS and we achieve this technology maturity, obviously we are going to decarbonize almost 65 to 70% of Indian economy. The methanol and ethanol and ammonia programs. Methanol program already announced. We can see that methanol grade buses, ethanol blending program that is already announced, and we have target by 2025, 26 to 20% methanol, and then ammonia to green hydrogen mission. Nuclear, we have to think from large nuclear power plant to small nuclear power plant worldwide. The SMR, the small modular reactor, that is in discussion. We start working on, we are working on this small modular reactor, and we have to develop indigenous technology on this one, but this is a long way to go. In the National Hydrogen Mission, we have focused only on the green hydrogen. We have not included blue hydrogen for incentive, but our pathway start from blue to green. So through coal gasification and by utilizing CCS technology, we can achieve green as well. And obviously the 500 gigawatt renewable energy and beyond that, and the EV program that we wanted to add our vehicle fleet by 2030 at 30% of our production. In sustainable mobility, we talk about the shared mobility and using the maximum public transport, and obviously the energy storage, which is going to support the entire energy transition program, and basically it is going to support the entire renewable energy penetration program, because without converting renewable energy, especially the solar and wind 24/7, it is not going to support the entire grid. Now, up to this was about the discussion how India is moving and adopting the energy transition and sustainability, especially to balance out the energy dilemma and the announcement at a global level and the commitment that we have given to the COP28 and other forum. We see that handicraft sector is a one sector which is contributing maximum in the MSME sector, and it is a global presence, and because of culture and heritage importance, and also the environment at a grassroots level, the women textile and paper and all other living, they have adopted the cluster approach to adopt the new renewable energy under the scheme. So we see that the handicraft sector has a potential to fulfill our SDG program, and that has been taken from one British Council report. So we see that they can support us into the poverty elevation. This is SDG number 1. Then they have a gender equality. They can balance gender equality. Then they can have a descent of the work and economic growth. You can see the industrialization, innovation, infrastructure, SDG 9, reduction of inequality, SDG 10, then life on land, SDG 15, and consumption and production is our SDG 7. So if we promote SDG handicraft sector in that way, so they can basically fulfill our SDG goal. We have given in UN, and India is focusing to balance out this thing, and there is a lot of program that to MSME sector and to different ministry that is under implementation. In that way, we say that Mission Life is the main program which has been announced, and ministry has initiated a lot. And under that, the circularity in the textile initiative by Ministry of Textile is the one major program. Ihgf now is also a new concept where we are going to showcase that handicraft innovation. Recently, in December 2023, that RAM program was announced, which is going to support a lot of investment and to adopt the circularity in the sector. Then there is a program which is called Zero Effect and Zero Defect. It was initiated before, but this is now getting a good result and it is picking up. And this is a major backbone for entire MSME sector, including the handicap sector. Now, what we see that there is some strength and weakness and opportunity and threat available to this industry also, because right now we are moving to the industry 4.0, where we wanted to adopt a lot of innovation and a lot of new technology. And we wanted to go for that maximum production. So once we wanted to maximize the production, obviously we have to also keep the heritage and the cultural values. So handicraft sector have this opportunity to adopt, but we have to support them through some hand-holding, especially the funding is one of the challenge the entire sector, because the sector is scattered and we have to organize. There's a lot of organization in that, and also and skilling and manpower training is also one opportunity where we can handhold them to adopt this industry 4.0. Obviously, government has to come up with the new guidelines and new support system for adopting the industry 4.0 to that MSME sector and especially the handicap sector. What we see that the entire sector, there's a lot of intermingling and a lot of interconnection to cluster. And we just see the sustainability already exists in the MSME and especially the handicap sector. And they are connected to each other. So there's a lot of interministerial ministry which has to handhold the entire sector. It is not only one SME sector or one other sector. So that starting from rural development till tourism and with the MSME till the Ministry of Environment and Forest and other, there's a lot of intermingling. So we can thinking about, but it is not on the paper, that how to balance out about all this cluster networking. Obviously, that handicraft requires support in that way because they are growing and there is a lot of demand because of that economic prosperity, and we are attracting a lot of foreign tourism. So for that we have to work on that portion also. So this is the circularity in the handicraft sector, which is obviously they are adopting, and I will discuss much on that one. Both again for the circular design, these are some parameters which definitely one has to adopt. The major slide that where these handicraft sector require interventions. So obviously the technology innovation is the one where we have to go for some collaborations, especially with the IITs, and we have a cluster center, and also there's a lot of new think tank that they are coming to support. Then we have to see that how heritage material and innovation is maintained, and how we can provide them, and how we can adopt circularity in that way. A lot of resources required to promote them on their funding, modeling pattern, model pattern, marketing pattern, and sustainability. And then we have to also develop the ecosystem and activity for that. We have to also support through advocacy and policy, especially government of India and state. A lot of state is doing good and they have a lot of policies, especially the Maharashtra, they have a good and they have aggressive policy for promoting handicraft. Gujarat has also a good policy. So different state is promoting, but we require to have an integrated platform where we can put all these policy and we can provide this. I hope Export Machine Council is doing the same. But much more is required to do because a lot of handholding is required, especially the tradition which are still at a bottom level. And the major chunk is that development of fund and investment, which is at most required because nobody is going to fund individuals and a group. So and this there is a ROI factor and return of investment which though they handicraft sector has a good ROI. Obviously, they are not so organized, so for them to have a maximum investment and getting loan from the bank on the higher rate is a challenge. So this is one, but lot of things have been already developed to grant-based policies, to incentive-based policies. But obviously, a new type of mechanism and new type of facilitation is required, at least to attract the down-level work, which can showcase our culture and our heritage. So this is small thinking from my side. I'm not expert majorly on the handicraft sector. We can discuss any questions you have and anything on the overall energy transition of the country and also the cluster transition, especially if you want to discuss on the MSDC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Upadhyay, for updating us, especially about the policy initiatives and strategies being undertaken in India, and it's the need of the hour. Well, we at ECH are also making endeavors to create awareness amongst our members and educating them about zero waste and other such initiatives. So, thank you so much. Before I introduce the next speaker of this session, we'd like to welcome amongst us our fair president, Priya Agrawal ji. Also, Shri O.P. Prahladka ji is here with us. He's the former chairman. And Ravi Pasi ji is also with us. We've already welcomed him. And we also have Shri K. Ramesh ji, who is member COA of EPCH. So after welcoming all these eminent dignitaries, it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Noel Alexander Peters. He is a mentor, motivator, and trainer, guiding clients to effectively strengthen and evaluate their leadership vision to new heights by leveraging unique lessons. Mr. Peters is an expert in corporate affairs, government relations, and licensing, with a passion for advanced learning and collaboration that emerge into great ideas to generate exponential growth in people, product, and process. He delivers sustainable solutions to industry businesses who value dedication, service, and excellence, and he's got more than 16 years of experience behind him, and it's a pleasure to have him here. He's our next speaker. Over to you, sir. Yes, please. We also welcome amongst us Shri Rajkumar Malhotra ji, former chairman EPCH. Welcome.
Good afternoon, all of you. So, myself, Noel Alexander Peters. First of all, I would like to thank ECH for giving me this opportunity to present my talk here and share a couple of all the insights or knowledge which I have gained through my experiences, learning from my peers and my qualification, and working with diverse platform and with the organizations. So I'll be presenting, my topic is on crafting a circular future, navigating sustainability and carbon impact. My presentation is quite simple so that for everybody to understand. I'll also be happy if anybody has any specific query, I'll be happy to answer those. So I'll start with the carbon footprint. As we know that carbon emission has become very, very important and area of major concern when we talk about environment, climate change, when we talk about various emission backgrounds, when we see that we have to save our natural resources. It has become an area of concern not only to a particular segment of industry, but all across the world where it is personally, professionally, or people and organizations at large. If you see, the major contributor to the carbon emission is the textile industry. And here we can see that textile industry alone is emitting 1.7 million tons of carbon emission, which is almost 10% of the global emissions. So we need to think about, we need to talk about, we need to prepare ourselves in such a way that as an individual, as an organization, or as in collaborative people, how we can solve these concerns and save our planet. Now I'll be moving to my next slide, and I would like to ask question to the people what they would like to share there, or what they understand by the next slide, which I would like to share now. So, any idea what is this? Anybody? It is sharing of information, so we all are learning from all of us. Any idea anyone can say if you see this picture what it is all about?
Climate
Yes,
change, adverse climate change happening in glaciers getting melted, the drought area,
Very good, very good.
biodiversity affected, forest fire.
Yes, so I think people are aware of this, the situation and concerns which we are facing. So we can see that as human beings, what impact we have created or what we have done to our ecosystem, to our life, and to the natural beings. So in other words, I would like to say that this is particularly, as rightly said by the gentleman sitting here and the lady, that it is climate change. Yes, this is climate change, and climate change does not respect any borders, ladies and gentlemen. It does not respect who we are, rich or poor. So climate change is for all. Therefore, it's time that we take high priority steps. It is our individual responsibility that we take a very serious and high priority steps in fighting against the climate change. It is not only just pictures, but the reality which we as in human life is facing today. And it is our responsibility that we have to deal with this situation, and every individual come together, join together as one being and solve the concern related to the climate change. Now, more importantly, it is not about earning or doing business, it is about saving our life. It is about saving the ecosystem. So what I would like to propose is that these are the three small quotes which I have mentioned here. Let's unite together to conserve the green environment, which is essential for life to flourish. Let's be the part of the solution, not part of the pollution. And most importantly, every individual who understands the magnitude of being in this planet Earth, it says that Earth has a music for those who listen. It has a very big meaning all about. Now I'll be moving to that what all this can result to our circular economy and sustainability. So I'll be talking about from a perspective of sustainability development in Indian handicraft industry. So as you can see that handicraft industry is one of the very important sector of the Indian economy, and they employing almost 7 million people, where the women accounts over 56% of all the artisans. You can also see that India has almost 744 handicraft clusters, employing almost 212,000 artisans and 35,000 products altogether. So the opportunity, the intensity, and the platform to develop and create employment and business is huge. And we need to understand that through this business, how we are saving the people, the planet, and society at large, how we are supporting that. If you see, the demand for the Indian handicraft products are increasing consistently, not only in the Indian market, but majority is in the export market. And you can see that US, UAE, UK, Germany, Netherlands, and France are the main area where India export their handicraft products. So from government initiatives, there are the two government initiatives which has been taken by the government of India, that is National Handicraft Development Program. The second is Comprehensive Handicraft Cluster Development Schemes, which government is promoting. So now I will move on to my the main core concern area. linear economy to circular economy. So it's time we need to think from take, make and waste to take, make and recycle, to take, make and reuse. So it's time that we need to move on to the circular economy, where we need to have the concept of altogether how we can generate and develop business in terms of remanufacturing, recycling, designing into an ecosystem, eco-friendly way, and reusing as much as it can, so that we can save the natural resources. We can save our natural resources in terms of utilizing that and utilizing the raw material of the existing products which can be reused. So the three principles when I talk about from the circular economy is regenerate the natural system, design out the waste and pollution, and keep products and material in use. This means we have to keep a closed loop chain where we can reuse the material and make into an ecosystem where designing, producing and consuming is almost contributing to the environment friendly way. Now when I come to the sustainability, we can see the previous days where sustainability means economy, society and ecosystem. However, ladies and gentlemen, now the sustainability terminology has changed altogether. We need to first focus on the ecosystem, then society, then economy. So now it has become very important that more than thinking from a business perspective, we have to think from natural resource perspective, conserving the natural resources and thinking from an ecosystem. So that what we are going to give to our future generation, what we are going to hand over to the future generation, where we have only one life to live, one life to contribute. So let us do in a better way and sustain the market in such a way where we have something to give to the future generation. Moving to my slides on the textile value chain. So textile has been the major economic sector in India, and the sustainability and circularity principle in the value chain is imperative and large good. As you can see, the study which was done, 85% of the Indian consumers were willing to pay more to the sustainable products. This was the study which was conducted, and 74% consider environmentally and social impact when making a purchase decisions. So I'm not going to the detail of this slide, but through this slide I'm just trying to explain that how the total textile waste can be reused, and can the waste be used in the applications which are not harming the environment. So mapping the textile zones in India from north, east, south and west, we can see that textile industry is booming because of its manufactures a variety range of the products. Also, the Indian government has introduced numerous export promotions, policies and initiatives to promote the textile sector, and which will boost its GDP share and also the FDI and promote employability. So my solution is that we need to move from typical linear economy to circular economy. And this circular economy will have material design, product design, reuse, remanufacture and recycle. And this is the way forward that we can take our industry to the next level. So you can see through these pictures where the waste segregations are done, how sorting of the medium-sized cut waste are being used, large size cut pieces, shredded cut waste, and these are all made into floor mats, made from handloom. These are all recycled products. You can see how these are being reused and recycled. So I can recall myself when I was a small child, when my clothes, my parents used to buy clothes for me, and when I grew, my clothes used to be worn by my brothers or my younger brothers. So recycling is our in genes. India already is aware of how to recycle their own products into their culture, into their environment. But now, since the environment concerns have become more, so we need to think from a very strong point of view to understand how the implementation has to be done. And then the approach has to be taken, which I talked about, the 6R strategy, which is redesign, reduce, reuse, remanufacture, recycle and regenerate. So this is just a slide to share with you all that how the willingness of to where the recycled fiber clothes are being done. So you can see majority of the people prefer, then the uses pattern, then reason for discarding the clothes, also willing to pay more price in terms of circular clothes. Now I'll come to the second topic, which is the wood and the wood products. So we know that one tree, the very one tree, the air we breathe. So the the CO2 emissions, we know deforestation has become one of the major concern, where deforestation only takes the major contributor in terms of carbon emissions. Green environment plays a very important role in terms of carbon emissions. So if the environment is green, the emission of carbon will be less. Again, the circular economy, from linear economy to circular economy, and this is the 9R concept, where we say that it is refuse, rethink, reduce, reuse, repair, refurbish, remanufacture, repurpose, recycle, and recover. So I would like to give you the circular business model. There are 5 major areas in the wood and wood products where you can have a circular business model. One is the circular supply model, resource recovery model, product service system model, sharing model, and product life extension model. And this is how the circular value chain is going to be altogether. Finally, last but not the least, the circular economy model, which has the concepts which I already shared with you all, the circular systems which needs to be done in terms of moving forward. So, since it was requested by EPCA that I should talk about CBAM. CBAM has become very important, and there are people, those who are concerned about the CBAM and how the policy needs to be complied and met in terms of complying with the CBAM requirement. There are certain things I would like to clarify to all of you all, to the audience here, that what is the basic reason of implementation of CBAM, and where actually CBAM is applicable, where CBAM is not applicable. So as we know, CBAM is basically the European regulations which was proposed by the European Union. The aim of the CBAM is to reduce carbon emission. Why CBAM? Why EU putting a place of CBAM? The major reason is that EU ambitious target of 55% net reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, and that is climate neutrality by 2050. So this is the main cause that the EU has been implementing the CBAM regulation. But very importantly, I would like to share with you all, CBAM is into 2 major important stages. One is the transition stage, and second is the implementation stage. So I would like to share with you all what was the pattern when CBAM was not introduced, and what is the pattern when CBAM will be introduced. So you can see the only change which is there, first there were no border price adjustment, but after the implementation of CBAM, the adjustment of price at the border corresponding to ETS price, that will be taken into account, where people need to have a CBAM certificate if they are importing to the European countries. Last but not the least, this is a very important slide, and if anybody has any question, they can ask me. CBAM is not implemented yet, it is under a transition stage. So you can see here, the CBAM is under transition period till 2026. After 2026, or from 2026, CBAM will be mandated, and it will be a matter of compliance for all the people, those who are doing business with the international or the European market. CBAM, the goods and the scope which are being in the CBAM are iron and steel, aluminium, cement, fertilizers, electricity, and hydrogen. So in other terms, there are major of the product of the handicraft industry which does not fall under the CBAM requirement. So there is nothing to panic about, there is nothing to worry about. The interpretation of this regulation has to be taken correctly in a manner where people understand, all the people understand where CBAM is applicable. So now I would just like to close my talk saying that CBAM is under a transition stage. we or all the people, those who are doing business with the international market, they need to understand that this is a transition phase where people have to prepare themselves in order to comply with the CBAM requirement that the carbon emission, whatever product they are manufacturing, is less. Compiling all those information, once again I would like to thank you all and thank you EPCH for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
As there were a lot of varieties, I mean the categories where CBAM is going to impact.
You can switch on your mic.
Yeah. So categories which are from the handicraft, particularly say brass,
Yes,
glass,
Yes.
or maybe you can talk about ceramics.
Yes.
How it is going to impact these categories?
Sir, it will not impact these categories because there was a proposal which was given. In that proposal, there was an amendment before the regulation was drafted. In that proposal, all those parameters were curtailed, and then European Union decided that these are the only products will be included in the scope of CBAM. Apart from that, if there are any other product, at this particular time, it is not included in CBAM requirement.
Okay.
And it does not follow any compliance parameter. All the parameters which were in the earlier stage will remain the same.
Okay. One more thing.
Yes,
So
please.
CBAM regulations and whatever guidelines are there,
Yes.
are they already mature enough to address and implement, or are they still in the development stage?
These are still under transitional stage. Regulation has already been drafted, it has been finalized. We need to follow the regulation and keep ourselves compliant. This means we have to keep ourselves prepared. That from 2026 it is mandatory and we have to take CBAM certificate.
Right. Thank you.
Yes.
The product,
Yes. Yes, please.
the product made from iron will be considered in this CBAM
Yes, please, sir. Yes.
because now the buyer is asking for the report for the CBAM. So which lab will be doing the testing for it, or which agency is appointed in India? Because as far as I searched in Google, there is no agency in India who will be CBAM.
Sir, right now you don't have to file for any certificate. You just have to prepare. It is a report which the manufacturer or which the importer has to prepare as a transitional stage. You have to prepare yourself. That certificate will only comply when you start your business from 2026. That is mandated from that time. So initially, let's say you are making or manufacturing any product, then you have to understand what is the carbon emission which is being emitted when you are manufacturing that product. Right now, no certificate required. Right now, no testing is required. Only preparation. That is why if you can see, it is a transitional period. Yes, please, sir. You wanted to ask some question.
My question is in two parts.
Yes,
First,
please.
as a consumer who is environmentally conscious, he will strive to consume less, reduce, recycle, repair his products before buying new ones. Second, as an enterprise, your ultimate goal is to sell maximum and gain profits. So how do you align these two conflicting assertions in order to protect the environment?
Okay, that's a very good question. I would like to appreciate you for that first. See, as an individual, when you talk about, as an individual, it is my responsibility how much we can, for an example, I'll take a very generic example. When you buy clothes, you go to any store and you buy clothes, many clothes you buy. Then you have many of your clothes in your wardrobe, which is already kept, but you're not using it. So what you do? As a responsible individual or a person, you will try to donate that clothes. You will try to donate that clothes to whom? Maybe to some charity people, to some poor people, or people those who don't have clothes. So you are a responsible person. Why? Because you are reusing those clothes instead of throwing it out or dumping it to an area which can get contaminated, which can create pollution. So this is how as an individual you can do. Second thing you can do, you have plenty of places available. You can plant as much as trees you want. This is how you are supporting. So this does not require any kind of a certificate. It is your individual's responsibility. Now when I talk from an organization or an enterprise point of view, enterprise can benefit in terms of reusing more product. the raw materials which are already existing in the market, make it use of it, so that the natural resources which are being used, it is less. So the cost of raw materials will cut down, your manufacturing will cut down, and the end product which you are supplying or which you are selling to the market, that cost is also less. So ultimate goal, you are buying at a less price and you are selling at a price, so you are making good margin in that. So as a responsible institution or enterprise, we need to think that how much we can gather which we can reuse and recycle. Yes, please, sir.
I can just add to this part.
Sir, please.
From an enterprise perspective, there is also a competitive advantage which is coming up. If you offer product range which has longer life cycle, then consumers are preferring it today. I mean, slow fashion is coming into play. So it could be something which can create a blue ocean for you.
Thank you, sir. Any more questions?
I would like to have a point of view on that actually, about the fast fashion and the slow fashion. Fast fashion is one of the culprit which has brought in this entire discussion actually. Now we talk about if it is actually coming, slow fashion again in the trend. Can we share some data on that?
I don't really.
Okay, but it is there, yeah?
It's coming up. Yes.
It's a good news then.
Yes, sir. Please, please. You are asking something.
I wanted to ask about the cost of compliance. Won't the CBAM put additional expense on our exporters who are already under low pressure, under high pressure with low margins? Won't it just make our exports uncompetitive in the global market? I wanted to know what effect additional compliance like this, which are meant for European, will have on third world countries like ours, where our per capita GDPs are rather low. So what effect will this additional compliance have on our GDP growth?
There is no major effect on your additional compliance point of view. We first, the only bigger area which Europe is looking forward to, if you want to export any of your product to European market, you need to make sure that the manufacturing processes involved in making that product produces or emits less carbon. For that, you need to prepare your own calculation, share with the European people, and get the CBAM certificate. Once it is in place, basis on that, whatever carbon you have reduced, you are going to get the benefit out of it. Yes, please.
You said reduce the carbon, right?
Yeah.
It's almost correlated that you reduce the carbon by increasing investments in your technology, your manufacturing processes. Let's take the steel from India and steel from USA. A producer in USA would be able to invest more in a much more greener technology than a producer in India.
Please, yes.
So won't that just make us uncompetitive in the European markets? The Europeans would prefer their steel over ours because we simply can't produce steel at that high rate and stay competitive against an American producer. We'll be out of the market.
Sir, I respect your concern, but the actual fact is that India is the biggest importer of scrap, and the way the scrap is converted into steel, aluminium, iron and brass with all the specification and compliances is undoubtedly the quality is 100%, and you won't believe all those products are exported to the international market. So it is already there, sir. The only concerns which are coming is now that the people in Europe, they are thinking, why should we give our resources to other country? Why can't we save that resources for ourselves? That is the concern.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. I think enough questions for this session because we have other panelists, other panel also waiting. Thank you so much for enumerating on reducing, how to reduce the carbon footprint and specifically addressing the subject with respect to the handicraft sector and telling us about CBAM. Thank you so much. Well, we now have further elaboration on this topic. Our eminent speakers will delve into strategies for preserving traditions while embracing sustainable practices. We will elaborate on topics such as value addition in bamboo products, innovative approaches to recycling and upcycling to minimize waste, and an exploration of current challenges and opportunities in waste management. Our pioneers, our panelists here are pioneers in their respective fields, and we have great respect for them. They've been amongst us earlier also, and it's a pleasure to have them here once again. So I'll introduce them one by one as they speak. We have, let's welcome them first. We have Srimati Anita Ahuja with us. She is the founder of Conserve India, a pioneer in this field who thought about this subject long time back when we didn't even know about it. So here she is, Anita Ahuja ji. We would like to welcome her. And Shubhi Sachin is already there. She's taken her place. She's ready to go make her presentation. She's founder of Materials Library of India, a young enthusiast who is committed to this subject. And we have Shri Sandeep Sanan, who has also done a lot of work in especially the bamboo field. He's doing a lot of innovative work in Assam. So a brief introduction about Shubhi quickly. Her current work is about channelizing post-industrial and agricultural waste, where she's not only proposing alternative ways to use the materials, but also to alter the conventional notion of waste being sent to landfills or incineration units. So over to you, Shubhi ji.
Hello everyone, I'm Shubhi Sachan. I run a place called Material Library of India. Not so young and not so enthusiastic anymore. I started the journey 13 years ago. The enthusiasm keeps going down if the policy adaptation doesn't come into action. But yes, I started the journey 13 years ago. Material Library of India was formed and established in 2017. 2020 onwards, we have been running our operations under MCA regulations. What we do is, might interest you, sir, because you were asking questions of selling the product and then doing so. So we really didn't thought of making product. I'll tell you why we named Material Library of India, which is a very nascent new concept to most of us here. Like book libraries, materials needs to be known. Whether it's timber or whether it's seed of cotton, everything starts, whether it's digital world, everything starts with the notion of tactileness. Till the time you can't make things functional, whether it's your satellite or whether it's your phone, you can't run whether it's digital word or a physical word. So understanding materials and understanding the use case of materials, their beginning and their end of life, and then mixing them with the relevant materials will make our life easier going forward. Hence, materials play a very, very crucial role in driving the whole concept of circular economy. And right now we are living in linear economy, as we all know about it. So this was written approximately 9 years ago. Before too soon, when our natural resources become scarce and waste accumulation reaches a tipping point, waste streams will become future quarries for mining materials, which is actually happening. Noel was talking about this right now. There are many other organizations who have started working on this thing. But yes, we are looking at quite literally waste as the new quarries for mining materials. These are the landfills. This is how our linear economy systems looks like. Whether it's well managed, both the sites are from India. Whether it's well managed or whether it's not so well managed, but that's what everything is resulting into, what we are consuming today. Textile is a second skin since everybody's talking about textiles. Although as Material Library of India, we work as a consultation across all the materials, but when we somehow we have been getting food on the tables and our bills paid through plastic and textiles in past few years. Seems like these two industries are on very much fire, and that's how we have been getting a lot of work around them. So plastic and textiles have been the two things. We started working with so we are now in the process of setting up textile recycling facility, which is for the community. It is not saying it's only B2B or it's only going to be by an organization. It's for the community. Like how Noel was talking about, how there is so much X amount of waste, how do people work around it? So this facility very simply started with the idea of saying like, oh, we have so much. As a country, we have not really understood the concept of binning our textiles into the regular bins. We don't have that habit. Although West has been capable of doing that, we have been working towards different mechanisms as a system, as a society. So now when we are working towards it, how do we differently approach it? Because there is no textile bin, and textile is not a material when you put it into a regular bin, it can be recovered even as effectively as plastic. So it cannot be. So what do you do around it? We started working with different kinds of materials. So we have started working with different kinds of materials across textile, and this is primarily, this particular project is focused on post-consumer textile recycling. We developed some samples. These are nothing new. I mean, everybody here from textile sector will know that these are nothing new, but bringing a transparency in the supply chain, bringing a conversation live to a larger audience, everyday household audience, is something which is where we are trying to bridge the gap. We started making different kinds of materials. These are also from 100% waste. And when you start to understand materials, you can actually make materials which are as good as virgin materials or even compete and beat them. So these are all the materials which are made from 100% waste. We got some recognition around our work, especially for textiles from the Ministry of Textiles, and we have been collaborating with Ministry of Textiles for a decent amount of work we are doing lately. What other kind of projects? Products are a byproduct of our research and consultation part. We don't consciously go out and about to make products. When we say we are, very simply, we were talking, me and Anita ji were talking, that how in the beginning of making anything, we haven't really thought any material to be a problem. We think this is a solution to X kind of challenge. And we don't really see it, what will happen to this material at the end of its life. Do we? We don't really make anything with that kind of a mindset. End of life में ये कहाँ जाएगा? इसका कोई destination है या इसका कोई solution है या solution होना चाहिए या हम first step पे नहीं सोचते हैं? We don't think about it like that. So जब हम first step पे ये नहीं सोचते हैं तो हर चीज़ का एक technical solution ढूंढना, mechanical solution ढूंढना, techno-mechanical solution ढूंढना, chemical solution ढूंढना is not easy. So if we start to think about it at the first step of inception, then probably we can work towards the last step to be a solution-oriented step. But since we are not designed that way, our linear economy doesn't allow us to function that way, we don't function like that. So every product we design is the outcome of the materials which are technically, mechanically, chemically, and not designed to be recycled in the first place. So this is an IKEA project which we did at the peak of COVID. I think it was a beautiful concept. We were developing a seed library for IKEA. And it was all across IKEA stores was presented. And this was simply giving people an idea that how your houses can be beyond and how do you need to understand the circularity of your own systems within your household. And it starts because it was COVID and everybody was capable of spending enough time within their household boundaries. So people were able to understand what we were trying to communicate to them. So that was a piece sent across by IKEA to across the globe, all their centers. This was a project we did for Godrej. Across all the facilities, we were mapping their waste. This is a research project, highly technical, simplified to an extent that even a layman can relate and understand to it. So if we are trying to make a product, that means we are trying to draw a matrix of how one can feed into the other. But it is coming from a point where we are saying, how do we reduce in the entire assembly line, how do we reduce the use of virgin resources? and dictated formats by CPCB or whatever local pollution bodies. But even though there is a lot of room for improvisation, and that's where it's brave on a conglomerate of that nature and respect to call upon and say that we would like to change, even though the status quo has been completely green certified, we would still like to push the boundaries. So, I mean, these things don't happen just by working. You have to bring a lot of alignment, so training, workshops. This was, I mean, this I would like to share with EPCH especially, that this was a presentation which was on site by us. It was a zero waste presentation where not even a single glue or adhesive was also used. And it was the table, right from table, bringing in a table to an empty space, engineering it in a way that whatever we leave behind can be dismantled, flat packed, and reused or 100% recycled. So, I mean, that's something which we did on site, so I'm sure at our own spaces it's definitely possible. This is another project. I will just keep quiet, you will have a look because the music is loud.
The F bar. Fashion.
Fast flowing, fabulous.
Fatal. A cascade of style. Impatient.
Imperfect, impulsive,
Repulsive.
beauty,
And the beast.
here to make waves.
Here to break waves. Here to rebel.
Be reckless,
Be a wreck. Be flawless. Be full of flaws. Dreamers.
winners,
Losers.
sinners, unafraid to unleash.
Unafraid to unlearn.
This is real.
This is surreal.
This is the future.
If we want a future,
We don't do normal.
we cancel plans.
So this was a project done in collaboration with Dr. Reddy's lab, and with Dr. Reddy's lab, the consultation could not be as we did from Godrej. Godrej being a conglomerate, they had varied nature of businesses, and drawing a matrix was simple. But when you are a pharmaceutical giant and a single line of work, you cannot really draw a matrix. Matrix to what? What feeds into what? So hence, developing a streetwear line from scratch, which is still live. It's called Cancel Plans. You can go have a look. It's up since 2019, and it's a streetwear label, which is completely made from their own, as well as some other waste from in and around the factories, which is being used in the production. Very quickly, this is another project we did for Design Museum London, and Design Museum London commissioned us to look into the waste of textiles from an industry point of view, not only from a post-consumer or a dead stock point of view. Each of them are very different. Dead stock is dead stock. From when we talk about post-consumer, the onus has been transferred on to us. But here we are purely talking about industry while processing. Every operation, every machine, everything has been designed in a way to not eliminate waste. No matter how responsibly we function, right now our whole entire ecosystem is designed to end at landfill, even if we do everything right. So whether responsibly or irresponsibly, no matter what we have done, the end goal is landfill or incinerations. So we started developing a line of products from those things, just to give people an understanding of what we are talking about. It's not easy when we are talking what I'm imagining, what you're imagining. So just to cap that imagination, we started giving some samples, and that's how we ended up developing a few pieces, which are currently displayed at a museum in Paris right now as we talk. And that has been a global exhibition right from London to Hong Kong to Paris. And yeah, we developed it actually for London in the first place. These are the yardages which we develop. They are from waste, which is non-recyclable. There are in-house production. We haven't done it for any client. So hence, we have some products which we went really into the core of technology. This is multi-layer packaging being 3D printed. So, I mean, that's what we try to do. We try to club with most difficult, as per PWM, plastic waste management also, this particular material is quite difficult to work with. So we thought, why not to push it into a cutting-edge technology format and start to work around it. These are very simple products. We try to define how they can be used. Very quickly, we have another something apart from consultation and product making we do is material literacy. It's coined from the word called financial literacy. Everybody knows we live in a capitalist world, but nobody has really formalized the education of financial literacy into our schools across. So, I mean, when that has not been done, so material literacy, how do we understand materials and how do we bring that problem to any kind of a direction where we actually start to solve that problem is what material literacy aims to tackle and bring that understanding into people. So material literacy are courses, workshops across schools, colleges, and corporates, and that's what we have been doing with various schools and colleges. I'll not play this video, I guess, and that's about it. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Do we have any questions for Shubhi?
And this is about that paddy waste which we burn there actually, most of the
I
northern
haven't
states.
talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's again a waste and it's a big issue here in North India at least.
Yeah.
Are we not working on that? I mean, from your perspective.
I can't do everything. Everybody's generating and eating rice and drinking water and breathing air.
That's
Somebody else needs to do something.
Yes. Some are working on that, but
Yeah,
if you have
everybody
such
shares the same
solutions-
air quality.
Yes, if you have such solutions, some integration.
Yes, we do
can
have
happen.
solutions. We do work on agricultural waste. Provided somebody comes to us with a problem and commission us to solve the problem, we will be able to address it. Yes.
Thank you.
So thank you Shubhiji. Thank you for doing what you do, and we wish you all the best for pursuing your passion that is for the good of humanity, for a cleaner, better, greener future. Thank you. And now I request Anita ma'am, who's here with us. She's a pioneer in the field. She's founder of Conserve India, a writer, artist, designer, and social entrepreneur. Her NGO Conserve India is aimed towards sustainability. Since the last 20 years, Conserve India has worked in the promotion of energy efficiency, waste management, upcycling, skill training, and food security. Among Ms. Ahuja's accolades, Best Green Designer Qatar 2010, Ashoka Fellowship 2008, Letter of Commendation from Clinton Global Initiative in 2011 have been notable. Her biggest achievement has been innovation of now patented handmade recycled plastic, HRP, a means to upcycle low density polythene into a high fashion material. It's a pleasure to have you here once again, Anita ji. I request you to please make your presentation now. Thank you.
Thank you. A lot has been said by my co-panelists, so I won't get into the linear, the reuse, the circular economy. I'll just take you through my journey. So in '98, we are Delhi-based. So a like-minded group of people decided to form a non-profit organization in environment. And basically, we looked at the waste problems in middle-class localities where we stayed. And we collected waste and we got involved with the RWAs and Department of Environment and Bhagidari program of our earlier Chief Minister. And there was a lot of plastic waste. So, when we were doing these projects, we realized we needed a solution for plastic waste. So I come from a design background and my husband is an engineer from Pilani. We both were working together in the non-profit. So we decided to try something with polythene bags because I was involved with the waste pickers and I wanted to do something for the communities. So we created a very simple process of upcycling LDP, which is those thelis which everyone carries. So we segregated the plastic waste and the thin, colorful plastic bags, we cleaned it, washed it, And in a very low-cost machine, we made fabric. And the fabric was really very interesting. And it looked very pretty, but of course, it was difficult to get colors and all that, a uniformity. So we thought that with the slums, they'll use it as the roofs or something like that. We were not into making of products. But I did find the material very exciting. So once they could not succeed at anything, I realized they just wanted to earn their day-to-day money, and they really couldn't reach any market or design. So I got into designing, and simple, I hired a Master G and a group of tailors. We experimented with the materials, and I made the first few products, handbags, because handbags is something I knew that market. But I just took mainstream designs, which you see all over in the trade show, and I just replicated that with my material because I had no knowledge of circular economy or something like that. I just wanted the products to sell at a good price. So, taking those mainstream design, I added gotas and beadwork and something to make it look more attractive. Once I had a collection, then I approached EPCH, Mr. Rakesh Kumar, and asked him how I could sell my products. Because Indian market was not ready for an upcycle product at that time, even if it looked really nice. So I thought export was a good idea, and EPCH really helped me. So we got a stall through Cohands, and in the very first fair, I think it was 2002 or something, we had nearly 20 buyers showing interest, and on the spot 50 lakhs orders. So that was like, like all those years back, you've just come to you've got a small stall and you get 50 lakhs worth of orders, and the buyers were really very nice to us. Like we didn't have money, we told them about our problems, but they were just very keen. They said, we'll wait. Like, doesn't matter if you supply us in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, we'll wait. So we all set to work, we created, and we started exporting. After that, for the next 15 years, we participated twice a year in this trade show. And with the support of EPCH, we went to many international shows, and the response was tremendous. Our profit margins were 200%. We were growing at 30% every year, year after year. So obviously, the non-profit also did very well. Our private limited company also did well. We were able to build a big factory in the HSIDC park, and all largely due to the export market. We did not enter the Indian market because we had got used to the quantities of exports. We still kept our quantities a little lesser, like our minimums were 300 pieces per style per color. We even were agreeing to 100 pieces also, while our competitors in the mainstream, because they had not yet they didn't have those patents. We had already got patents and all, but because they were not working with waste materials, they were working with normal materials, so their prices were lower, but we were the only ones having that kind of a stall. Whether we were in India or we were in Germany, any fair, we were the only ones. But in this last 15 years, a lot of competition came. Like we worked with tire tube, we worked with silk bells, we worked with cement bags, we worked with tea bags, name every waste stream. Like we were the first ones to make the designs, and we got the cream of the buyers with the cream prices. But over the years, we noticed, at least I noticed, a lot of competition was coming. And I really like people copying my design, but then it's bad for business because other people from Panipat and from other places were selling it much cheaper. When we went to international fairs from Africa, from Indonesia, Vietnam, everybody was carrying upcycled products. So naturally, we had to keep reducing our margins. And because we're coming from India, then the perception is like if others are selling this much, then why are you selling? Even if we say we're a fair trade company and all that, it doesn't really work. I mean, of course, buyers are nice. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm a full promoter of fair trade. But at the end of the day, the buyers themselves say we are going through very rough times. so we can't afford those kind of prices. They keep putting the price down. So our margins kept reducing. And I also my thinking, I mean, I realized I was in that, I had, emerged from the linear economy, I had entered the reuse one. I was reusing all the waste material which was coming. But neither did I was trying to get involved more technology through traceability or carbon credits or anything, which would put me ahead of my competitors. So I didn't keep up with the race. When this realization struck me about 5 years back, we decided, me actively, because the bread and butter has to continue in the factory, so I can't close down everything. But at least I put a distance between me and the company and the NGO in a way, and decided to create products of circular economy. So then I'm once against the leader. Because if you're a leader, then you get 10 to 15 years at least. Because you have created something, and obviously when you have created, you've done so much layering in it that it's not easy for people to copy it immediately. Like some things can be copied, but it takes time for people to re-engineer the product also. So well, at least in that plastic thing and other things, in many things I got about 10 years, in some things it was 2 years. I would show it at the trade show, and in the next trade show I would spot someone with the same products, But still you do get some time if you're an innovator. So now when I thought, okay, now I am thinking of putting my company for the next 15 years. So I started thinking circular. Like how, in that circular economy, with this new green EU laws which are in the process of passing, the green bonds and all, are like say, textile waste. We work a lot with scraps, like whole panipat, all those katran is made into baskets, and all that stuff. That all is going to be banned. Or those materials which even use plastic bags, that material is going to be banned. So when you know that in the next few years, due to that green bonds, the green EU policy, all this is going to be stopped, then you have to move also quickly, otherwise you will not only lose the buyer, but also your margins really come down. I mean, because you're not the leader anymore. So I think that India has a very bright future in circular, and especially the handicraft artisan sector has very bright future. But where will we again lose the game? Maybe is that we are not introducing the tech very quickly. The AI, there's so many things which have come under AI, but which are not being introduced in clusters and artisan groups as fast as they should be. Of course, we can have a more detailed conversation because every tech, for a carpet industry, you need different one. For every industry, you need a different, but it exists today. But that is not being introduced in that big way so that we can become leaders. We'll survive, but that will survive when your profit margin is 10 to 20%, you're competing with 10 others, for leader. Similarly, like India can become the recycling yarn leader. But again, like we had the earlier discussion, the infrastructure is not there for segregating of post-consumer textile waste. Or the textile bank is not there, plastic banks are not there. It's just so difficult to get waste materials of quantities. I mean, little, of course, you can get it and go for a fashion show. But for business to sustain, where our minimum orders should be at least $10,000 to $20,000 minimum, because then only you get a little time to breathe. If it is lesser than that, then there's no point in doing the export order because you will just go on a loss. Because all your energy will get exhausted in just completing that order, and then again you do sampling for the next order, so you're not able to make that kind of profits. So I really think besides the government support, the entrepreneur, the innovator, because entrepreneurs are innovators, otherwise how do you survive? Also, like I looked around the trade show, and really not much has changed in the last 10 years, the product range. So we see lesser buyers coming. And the buyers who are coming, they are the poorer buyers who don't have that much money. And then 10 shop, so much same things happening. So I really feel like, EPCH also, because the way it gave me the push. If EPCH had not intervened in my journey at that point of time when I'd started, I don't think so I would have had the courage to get into exports, because we didn't have the money to straight away go for an international show or something. I needed some support like Go Hands, which gave me a very small stand, but which made me confident to take a bigger stand. And we used to have big stand because we had so many materials. But then EPCH did its role, but I did not. I was building my factory and making that kind of money rather than thinking of innovation. So, it's all a journey to me. If you all are still interested, then I can still talk about the circular one. But if you're, I would be happy if you have questions. Then we can skip the PPT.
Ma'am, I think we can request our next speaker. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. I'm sure everyone present here will be inspired by it. And thank you also for acknowledging the role that EPCH played in your journey. Yeah.
And also, I guess, Anita, you started the journey before we even realized there's a problem existing.
Yes,
So
that's
thank
what
you
I
for
said.
doing
Yeah.
what you did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
it's
you.
all like goodwill which has come around.
Yeah, that's what we mentioned in the beginning, that you realized this concept which was not even very prevalent. Nobody knew about zero waste and circular economy and everything. But you just did it out of flair, out of your passion for contributing to the society, and you're a great inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure to introduce Shri Sandeep Sanerjee. He's the founder of Muni Enterprises. He has worked for almost 2 decades in leadership and senior management roles in Ihgf. As a business consultant, he has worked with leading consulting organizations in textiles, agro-based industries, automobiles, FMCGs, metal, etc. He's a business advisor and core team leader for Bamboostan, which is a very interesting name. A startup manufacturing unit for bamboo products in Assam. It currently procures green bamboo poles from northeast Indian farmers, processes them into components like round sticks and slats for companies, making end products. And the end products are bamboo boards, chopping boards, furniture, toothbrushes, chopsticks, etc. And he is doing his bit for a cleaner, greener future. And it's a pleasure to have you here with us once again, Shri Sandeep Sanerjee.
Thank you so much, ma'am. How much time do I have?
15 minutes, please.
And I'll try to be sharp. I'm just going to narrate some experiences, my story, along with a few other people. And I'll be very specific on the bamboo part, and I think the reason why we are in bamboo is that it's also one of the solutions which can support what's happening in the world. It's not the only solution, it's also not the full solution, it's a part solution, but I think everybody has to do their own bit. And we all know about bamboo coming up as a very strong option to replace wood and plastic in certain applications, in certain functionalities. And there is definitely a preference because it is something from an economic perspective also which is available quite fast. It takes a plantation to grow up in 3 to 4 years, and then you can harvest it for the next 40 years. And if you handle it in a good way, you can produce a lot of items which are friendly to the environment. So what I would say is that this is something what we are working on, and I also would like to maybe jump into some data, because data is something which always excites. And if I pick up some HNS codes of word trade in some bamboo products, if you look at boards, which is HSM code 441911, in 2002, the global trade was 2,300 crores. It's one code, and also there's limited supply of bamboo in terms of the value-added bamboo products. And USA, Germany, Holland, France, and UK were the major importers, and China was the major supplier. If I look at chopsticks, it was 3,240 crores. Of course, Japan, USA, Korea, Thailand accounted for the major import, and China was the biggest supplier, almost 90%. Then if I look at other things, furniture and other articles, approximately 9,500 crores. Approximately 9,500 crores. USA, Japan, Germany accounted for the major of the imports, and of course, China was the biggest supplier. So you see these are three HS codes, and you can see the potential that exists. You know that India is one of the biggest resources of bamboo. Northeast accounts for almost 50% what is available in India, and it's a very, very let's say classical case where India, with its inherent setup of value chain, can actually create a very good economic cycle based on bamboo products. Today, what is happening in bamboo is that there is a part of the value chain which starts with the farmers and the aggregators, and then there is a part where you have to treat it, you have to convert it into components, and then you supply it to the producers who make the end products. So from farmers to where you make components is something which can be industrialized, but then from components to the end products is where the handicraft industry can come in. Today there is a lack of components availability which can meet the world-class compliances and the quality levels. And that's the problem we are trying to solve by intervening in the point of the supply chain. We're creating advantages for the farmers by skill development, by bringing in digital technology, ensuring the visibility of the supply chain. You need to have traceability, you need to have some sort of an accountability in that chain, converting the products in very modern setups into components, and then providing the components to our producers who can convert them into various products. So today we are at a pilot stage where we have a range of components which are ready, and a manufacturer in Moradabad is converting it into some sort of products, and we are going to offer it to the market. And that is what we are doing. And I think this is something where it has to happen in a cooperative way, and that's the reason I'm here talking about it, because I think with this kind of a platform, more and more people can get into this, and then it can create more advantage for all of us. And then of course on the broader level, this would definitely impact what is happening to our forest, what is happening to our climate. I mean, there is going to be a positive impact on the environment. And then also from the handicraft industry perspective, it is going to have a positive impact to our producers, our artisans, because they'll get components which are world-class quality, and they can produce products which can meet all the requirements. So I'll stop here right now. Of course, my information is available. Whoever is interested, we can always talk about it. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeepji. Thank you very much. You have been one of our known faculties. People know you in this industry. Thank you for inviting us. Now, anyone has any questions for any of the panelists? Because we are going to the last session of the day, wherein we have Mr. Ravi Saran with us. So before I introduce, if you have any questions, any comments, Anyone?
How many types of bamboo you are using for the things, whatever you are manufacturing?
This is a very good question because India has so many species, unlike
How
China.
many?
Thousands, 3,000 something. But the thing is that
As far as I know, it is only 14 species of bamboo grown in India, not more than that.
I mean, the thing is that if you take Tulda, for example,
Okay.
or region to region, there is variations in terms of the performance and what can be extracted. And so the main thing here is that the question which I was talking about, we have to identify the functionality of the end product and then match it with the kind of bamboo we want to use. And that is something which has to be done. Because the kind of bamboos which are thin, standard long trunks, which is also good in Konkan area and some parts of Assam, is very good for the construction industry, for example. So you have to choose the right species and then match it with the functionality of the end product.
That's what. What I wanted to know is the public or the members should know what kind of bamboo is used in which application. That if they are enlightened about that, that will be very easy for them to go further.
Absolutely, and I think that's the reason I said, 15 minutes is too short to even narrate everything. So if you give me more time, I can actually take a seminar on that.
Only 10 minutes, another 5 minutes is there you can.
No, but I said it's something which requires a little bit of time, and I can do a special session on that for sure and explain all the things. I have also spent 10 years working on it from a buying side also on a global level, and now I'm working on the supply side. So I understand a little bit, which I can definitely share my experiences.
Okay, one more question, small final question. Is it possible to promote bamboo, growing of bamboo to the farmers? And we should provocate them to grow bamboo, more bamboo, because one example I tell you, for our agarbatti industry only, we are importing about 85,000 tons of bamboo sticks every year from China. To make these 85,000 bamboo sticks, we need about 5 lakh tons of bamboo. That is very huge. And whatever the waste is there, that is also useful. That is not wasted anywhere. That is already in the recycling process, and everybody is using. Even Harihar polyfibers and so many things like that. They are making paper pulp, they are making textile pulp, and finally the briquettes. Everything is useful. But how to grow about 5 lakh tons of bamboo in India, what we require, that is what we want to do now. And we want to do whatever possible to reduce or stop from China, whatever so much of foreign currency is going, foreign exchange going to China from India. I am telling you only about agarbatti industry, not other industry. Maybe other industries are importing. How much they are importing, we don't know.
So you are right on this part, and it's not only China for the agarbatti sticks. Even Africa is supplying to us.
That is negligible.
So even Africa is supplying to us, and Southeast Asia is also.
Even Vietnam is supplying, but that is all negligible. Major is China.
Yes. So if you, that's one of the things which was also discussed last week. There is a discussion of the bamboo associations. The National Bamboo Mission has asked for inputs, and there are a series of suggestions which have been given in terms of the policies. Because whatever policies have come in, the implementation has not encouraged the farmers to get into this. And this is where... Sir, you have to let me finish. You are not letting me finish, and I think that's not the right thing. Let me finish. So the thing here is that the private sector, definitely there is an opportunity here, working with the right species of the bamboo which they need for their industry, and work with the nurseries to provide the saplings to the farmers and have buyback agreements. And that is dependent on individual industries, but this is what we are doing right now. So we are going into areas and also trying to create one more aspect, because just having plantation is the biggest challenge in bamboo after plantation is harvesting, because it's a very difficult, I mean you are aware of it, it's a very difficult thing to harvest. Since they are harvesting there, why not also have primary processing set up close to that centers? because when they do splitting of the bamboo there itself and the cutting of the bamboo, they will earn much more. So that economic value addition will create more interest for farmers to come into it. And that's a model we are trying. I don't have a solution for everything, but this is the model we are trying, and we have seen an interest from a lot of farmers to get into that. Not farmers, but aggregators. Because farmers still, you know that more, that it's not organized plantations. It's much more people in their backyards having bamboo. So they are, getting interested to sow more bamboo. And this is what we're trying to do, to create more money for them in the start of the value chain.
For this, what we did from Karnataka Forest Department, we told them to start giving saplings. And now they have got about 2 lakh saplings ready with them. And they want to give it off. Very meager price of 4 rupees per sapling. They are giving. And now we have already educated about maybe about 11,000-12,000 farmers. Because one NGO, for farmer NGO, will be supporting about 5,000, 2,000, 1,000 or 500, 600, these kind of farmers. And what we have told them is to grow bamboo only in the peripheral area.
On the farm periphery.
Only the border. So the exact center place what is being using, and you will get the income from that every now and then or every year. So you need not wait for the first time for about 3.5 to 4 years. Otherwise you will go mad. So what we have told them to grow only the peripheral area, and after 4 years, so as you said, another up to 40 years they will get harvesting and they will get that bamboo. And one more important thing is, Bambusa tulda is the only variety useful of our agarbatti industry. Now, right now. Earlier, Dendrocalamus strictus and so many Dendrocalamus species we were using. But now it is all mechanized. So only one variety is useful. So that we are educating now. If you want a project report on that, I can send you. It is very, very useful. You can guide people because you are into that now. I will send you that.
Thank you so much. And I will also say that, don't use it only for agarbatti industry. This plantation, if you do some value-added products, it will create more opportunities. Even things like, photo frames, for example. It could create one more expression for the buyer. So it's possible to create more things in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeepji. Thank you, Rameshji. Thank you very much. Now, moving on, we have with us Mr. Ravindra Sharan. He is an SRCC graduate and an MBA from FMS Delhi. His topic is system optimization for better profitability, product development, and effective marketing methodology and operations. May I request him to make his presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. What invariably happens is most of us exporters are bothered about getting the business and are bothered about approaching the customer some way or the other, and very few of them actually play an important significance to the execution of the order. So I am here to talk to you about what we need to do. My expert exporter friends and colleagues like Mr. Praladka here would tell you that getting the order is probably 25% of the story. And the real story is being able to ship it on time, ship it in the right quality, ship it as per the specifications, and ship it as per the legal legislation and compliance. So let me take you through the presentation. Today, prospect generation, merchandising, sampling, रावत साहब, वो बैठा हुआ है बाहर विशाल स्कूल. Today, prospect generation, merchandising, sampling, following trends, and getting the order happen very scientifically and in an advanced manner through direct past contacts. Our customer base is a very important tool for us. And I, for example, have a customer base of the last 28 years. The first customer who dealt with us in 1995 is still a customer of ours in 2024. So that is a very important contact base, and all of us have preserved that very well. The second and an extremely important source of getting the customers, and it is gaining more and more significance and importance in the Indian market, because is that of the buying agents and the regional offices of the large chains, because the buying agents understand the competence and the caliber of the exporters, and they tend to select only the right ones, and they go through their own selection process. So that is a very important source. The third source, of course, which in India is gaining extreme importance with the IGHF fairs, is the export fair. The fourth is the direct visits of the exporter to the markets all over the world. The next one is digital marketing. Now that is something which has increased over the last 10-15 years, and that has gained a lot of significance. And then we come to search engine optimization and things like that. Right? Now, unfortunately, little attention is paid to the execution, coordination, communication, and post-order execution. Now let me come to that. See, this is exactly what explains, unless you explain the peculiarities of your product, unless you clearly tell them what the product is capable of delivering, invariably it happens that both the buying agents and the importers may not totally understand the competence of your manufacturing abilities and the product. And unless you give proper disclaimers, it is very important to give disclaimer about your product, that my product is only capable of doing this much and no more. Unless you give the disclaimer, it would invariably lead to claims, and delays would lead to, what happens is, if your expectations of the customers are too high, and if you're not given 3 sets of counter samples, if you're not given the variance band, if you've not explained what the product is capable of, then the customer would go ahead and say, no, this is not what I wanted. You would keep going to and forth, and invariably then you would land up in a situation where the production is delayed and then air freight has to be paid. Now that is what you need to avoid by being upfront and by being absolutely specific. Now, before I go any further, and I mentioned very, very valuable tips, tools like PERT, CPM, bottlenecks. To my mind, to any merchant and production executive, PERT, CPM and bottlenecks are the most important tool that they can use to ensure their shipment is made on time. But before we do that, I want to introduce you. I don't know how many of you are using the flowcharts as a tool. Unless you understand the concept of a flowchart, unless you go, you would not be able to understand the path evaluation review technique, you would not be able to understand the critical path method, you will not be able to actually be able to control your production process. So to my mind, I am just going to show you. Now this flowchart can come in the smallest of your activities, including in a buying agent's office, including in a manufacturer's office, including in the service industry, because it is nothing but simple flow of activity that goes from one start to the other, to the third, to the fourth. I will just briefly take you through, otherwise flowchart itself is a very, very long topic, but we are not here to, I would take you to one flowchart which very effectively mentions shipment and post-shipment, including collection of the payment. Now this particular flowchart, if I can make it a little bigger, I don't think I can, yeah, but that's big enough there. It starts by receiving of PO, then generation of PI, then receipt of advance payment, then receipt of advance payment, execution, further to coordinate with merchandiser, nominated agent, generation of commercial invoice and PL, then it goes to pending order updation on the second side, it goes to sales chart updation, buyer production, marine insurance updation with insurance chart, sales chart pending order weekly updation, and that goes back to generation of commercial invoice and PI, and then put forward booking to nomination forwarding, forward the invoice and packing list to the CHA nomination, forward the BL draft to CHA nomination agent, obtain first print and debit note from forwarder, receipt of final documents. So this is the way it goes. So this is one flow chart which is extremely important for you to have a complete life cycle of this particular order. Right? Am I able to make any sense to all of you? Am I communicating? Look, I would be very happy to break the route and ask you for questions the moment they occur. I am not the standard teacher who would tell you to please let me complete my lecture. Now that's not the way we work. My intention is to educate you. My intention is to clear your doubts. And I have no qualm in waiting for your questions, in stopping for your queries, and in ensuring that you understand what I am saying is understood well. So is this particular flowchart clear to you? This is the life cycle of one single order. It does not take the bouquets of the order in question. We are obviously assuming that each order, even if a merchant or a person or a small, if when I have any of us who's a small exporter who's got 10 orders, even if they're handling 10 orders together, each order should be taken as an individual being. जैसे 10 बेटे होते हैं ना, तो हर बेटे की एजुकेशन अलग होती है, हर बेटे की खुराक अलग होती है, हर बेटे को खाना अलग मिलता है, हर बेटे को चीज़ अलग मिलती है, तो हम हर बच्चे की नीड्स को समझ के जब तक उसकी नीड्स को हैंडल। अच्छा, दूसरी बात ये है, मेरे से गलती हो गई, मैं काफ़ी देर से अंग्रेजी में बात कर रहा हूँ, मैं हिंदी में भी उतनी ही धारा प्रवाह पर वार्तालाप कर सकता हूँ और आपका ज्ञान वर्धन कर सकता हूँ, और मुझे बिल्कुल भी किसी प्रकार की कोई संकोच नहीं है आपसे हिंदी में बात करने की। तो अगर आप चाहें तो मुझसे सिर्फ हिंदी में वार्तालाप कर लीजिए, पूरा कर लीजिए, मैं समझा दूंगा आपको हिंदी में, दिल्ली 6 की हिंदी में, उर्दू, आपको जिस तरह की हिंदी चाहिए, जिस तरह की भाषा चाहिए, क्लिष्ट अंग्रेजी चाहिए, मैं वो भी कर दूंगा, लेकिन उसमें कोई फायदा नहीं है। तो आप मुझे समझाइए, क्या आपको ये पीओ की लाइफ साइकिल समझ में आ गई? क्या मैं दूसरे, हाँ जी बताइए सर।
इसमें आप जो लिखा अगर एडवांस ना मिले तो फिर ये साइकिल ये रहेगी?
नहीं, इसमें अगर एडवांस नहीं मिले तो हमारे पास 3 ऑल्टरनेटिव्स होते हैं जो हम लेते हैं। मैं बड़ा क्लियर हूँ भाई साहब, मैंने आज तक डीए पे काम नहीं किया। डीए इज डिलीवरी और एक्सेप्टेंस, और हमारे मोस्टली जो बाइंग एजेंट्स हैं, अब कुछ बाइंग एजेंट्स जो 3 स्टार स्टडेड है, 4 स्टार स्टडेड हैं, उनके साथ तो हाथ जोड़ के भाई डीए पे काम करना पड़ता है, लेकिन वो डीए इसलिए नहीं है क्योंकि वो बाइंग एजेंट बीच में है। जब एक बाइंग एजेंट का स्तंभ आ जाता है बीच में, तो फिर तो भैया कोई बात नहीं, चलेंगे, हम भी गंगा में बह जाते हैं, कोई बात नहीं। अदरवाइज जो नॉर्मल पेमेंट के शेड्यूल्स होते हैं, व्हाट वी हैव डन इज seriously, we have done literally 70% of our orders all through the last 28 years by 30% advance, balance 70% after the goods are shipped out on production of the documents photocopy, right, or fax copy or WhatsApp copy. The other one is delivery on payment, which is documents through bank. The third one is, please note it down for all of you, this is a very important part. Confirmed, irrevocable LC at site drawn on a prime bank. Each of these words in the international market holds extreme significance. Confirmed, irrevocable, letter of credit, at site, drawn on a prime bank. अगर आप अफ्रीका में भेज रहे हैं ना और आप प्राइम बैंक को नहीं दे रहे हैं तो भाई साहब पैसे तो छोड़ो, आप तो अगर वहाँ पहुँचोगे उससे मिलने के लिए वो आपको धर लेगा और आपसे $2.5 लाख मांगेगा, फिरौती देगा, तब आपको छोड़ेगा। तो ये बड़ी क्लियर कट बात है कि unless you follow all these specifications for an LC, your LC is not even worth the paper it is written on. ठीक है विकास भाई? So we are talking about DA, we are not talking about DA, we are talking about 30% advance balance, we are talking about DP, we are talking about LC, or we are even talking about bill discounting, which is a more recent phenomenon for the last 5-10 years. Right, then of course, what happens is when you have your limit, then 85% of your order value is anyway given by the bank. So that is an extremely portable, and if you have a bank limit, if you have a CC limit, or if you have any of those limits, then 85% money comes to you before the order comes in. So you are very comfortable in finance. I don't think finance is an issue. Right? Now we come to the next one. Order receipt and other processes. हमें ऑर्डर मिलता है, हम उसे रिकॉर्ड करते हैं, हम डेली ऑर्डर शीट बनाते हैं। एक बात आपको बार बार बताना चाह रहा हूँ, that the discipline is the most important thing in any order process. Unless you follow it on a daily basis, you're bound to go wrong, and your schedules and your deadlines are going to suffer. So ये बहुत ज़रूरी है that complete process starts with job card. within 3 दिन के अंदर जो ऑर्डर आपको मिल रहा है उसका कंप्लीट जॉब कार्ड तैयार हो जाना चाहिए। उसमें क्या क्या प्रोडक्ट लग रहा है, कितने कितने मीटर या कितने कितने शीट्स या कितने कितने किलो किस किस चीज़ का लग रहा है वो क्लियर हो जाना चाहिए। एंड अनलेस वी डू दैट वी आर नॉट डूइंग जस्टिस टू वॉट एवर वी आर डूइंग। एंड देन जॉब कार्ड शुड मेंशन ऑल डेडलाइंस एक्सीडेड टू बी मार्क्ड रेड। जहां आपने जैसे कहा कि भैया मेरे को ये मैंने कपड़ा ऑर्डर किया है, मेरे 15 दिन में आ जाना चाहिए, अगर वो 15 दिन के 17 दिन हो गए तो आप 60 दिन अगर प्रोडक्शन में ले रहे थे तो वो 62 हो गए तो मर गए, ठीक है ना? तो फिर आप क्या करोगे? तो ऑल डिलेज शुड बी मेंशन्ड with marked red. Pre-production meeting within 5 days. Now this is an extremely important part that I want to communicate to all of you. All the departments involved in the production of a process, whether it is finance, whether it is production, whether it is QC, whether it is purchase, whether it is merchandising, they should all meet together and hold a PPM. PPM in short stands for a pre-production meeting, and unless there is a pre-production meeting, then everything else is meaningless, because फिर तो आप 100% मेरे से लिख के ले लो, आप डिले होगी ही होगी, क्योंकि वो क्या कहेगा, वो आपको पता है क्या बताएगा, जो मेरे साथ तजुर्बा बहुत बार हो चुका। शिपमेंट तैयार है, पैक होने वाली है, वो कह रहा है जी आपके साइज के BOPP बैग नहीं मिल रहे। तो अब दोस्त गमखारी में मेरी सही फरमाएंगे क्या, और जख्म के भरने तलक नाखून न बढ़ाएंगे क्या? अब आप क्या करेंगे? आपकी शिपमेंट तैयार है, प्रोडक्शन हो गई है, सब कुछ हो गया है, और भाई साहब आपके BOPP बैग्स नहीं मिल रहे हैं। सो दिस इज एन एक्सट्रीमली इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट। अभी आई विल कम टू अ फ्लो चार्ट, आई विल कम टू अ डेली एक्टिविटी रिपोर्ट, आई विल कम टू ऑल दोज एस्पेक्ट्स। नाउ दे हैव टू बी डन वेरी केयरफुली, ठीक है? Okay, now has everybody understood this? Is there an issue? We are talking about material QC, that is another very important thing. जो specification है material की, उसकी quality control होना चाहिए, उसकी specification होनी चाहिए, compliance होनी चाहिए. Alright. Now I come to the next one, flow chart of production QC up to factory dispatch. किसी भी हालत में प्रोडक्शन वाले को, विशाल भाई मैं गलत तो नहीं कह रहा कुछ, किसी भी हालत में प्रोडक्शन वाले को क्वालिटी कंट्रोल का जिम्मेवार ना रख देना, ठीक है ना। लिखा परदेश, किस्मत में ट्रकों के पीछे लिखा होता है, वतन को याद क्या करना, जहां सयाद हाकिम हो वहां फरियाद क्या करना। जब प्रोडक्शन वाला ही आपका क्यूसी वाला हो जाएगा तो भाई साहब बिल्कुल ही आप तो मर लिए, क्योंकि वो कहेगा नहीं भाई साहब ये तो बिल्कुल सही माल है, ये तो जा रहा है, सही है, रॉ मटेरियल भी सही है, प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस भी सही है। क्या इस स्टैंडर्ड जवाब क्या मिलने को मिलता है, भाई साहब इतनी तो वेरिएशन आएगी ना, हैंड प्रोडक्ट है, हैंडमेड प्रोडक्ट है, क्या बात कर रहे हो आप हमें सिखाओगे। अच्छा भैया मैं कहूँगा मैं भाई इस कंपनी का मालिक हूँ, मैं शायद सिखाने की हैसियत रखता हूँ। नहीं, आपको नहीं पता प्रोडक्शन कैसे होती है, ये तो होगा ही होगा, ये तो टेढ़ा आएगा ही आएगा। सो ये बड़ा एक इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट है जो हमें ख्याल रखना चाहिए। अब हम आ गए टाइम एंड एक्शन प्लान पे। टाइम एंड एक्शन प्लान इज अगेन एन एक्सट्रीमली इम्पॉर्टेंट टूल टू इंश्योर। अच्छा, टाइम एंड एक्शन प्लान में हमेशा प्लान्ड अचीव्ड, प्लान्ड अचीव्ड, जो भी वेरिएबल है आपके टाइम एंड एक्शन प्लान का, आपने कहा जी 5 दिन में मुझे रॉ मटेरियल ऑर्डर करना है, आपने ऑर्डर कर दिया। आपने कहा जी 15 दिन में मेरा रॉ मटेरियल आ जाएगा, आपका 15 दिन की जगह 18 दिन में आया, आप मर गए। आप बेसिकली जो फ्लो चार्ट बनाओगे, अभी फ्लो चार्ट मैंने आपको ऑलरेडी बता दिया है, जो फ्लो चार्ट बनाओगे उसमें आप क्या रखोगे, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जितने भी बदमाश होंगे। एक बदमाशी हम क्या करते थे, बाइंग एजेंट हमें कहता था भैया इसकी 15 मई है शिपमेंट डेट, हम अपने सारे डिपार्टमेंट में फैला देते थे भैया 30 अप्रैल है शिपमेंट डेट, ठीक है, वो 15 दिन अपने पास रख लिए। लेकिन अगर आप 2-2, 3-3 दिन करके, और उसको भी बता दिया, बाइंग एजेंट सारे बड़े कोऑपरेटिव होते थे इस चीज़ में, उसको हम ये कहते थे भैया किसी से कह मत दीजिए कि 15 मई है, अगर 15 मई की तुमने शिपमेंट बता दी तो मैं 15 मई तो छोड़ तेरे को 15 जून तक नहीं दे पाऊंगा। तो वो 30 अप्रैल तक की डेट बता दी, सब जगह फैल गई, और 30 अप्रैल में से मेरे पास 5 दिन लेट हो गया, 10 दिन लेट हो गया, 15 दिन लेट हो गया, मैं फिर भी टाइम पे हूँ। अगर मैं 15 मई बता के चलूंगा तो भाई साहब ये तो मतलब पत्थर की लकीर है कि आपकी शिपमेंट लेट ही लेट गई। सो टाइम एंड एक्शन प्लान इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट। द सेकेंड पार्ट इज रोल एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी। What invariably happens is that there is an ambiguity. Sorry, मैं फिर अंग्रेजी बोल रहा हूँ, मैं माफ़ी चाहता हूँ। एक बहुत गैप है, एक बहुत फर्क है लोगों की समझ में कि उनकी रोल क्या है और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी क्या है। अब इसमें आप सबसे बड़ी बात ये समझें कि अथॉरिटी फ्लोज डाउनवर्ड्स। ये मुझे MBA में सबसे पहले सेमेस्टर में सबसे पहले चीज़ सिखाई गई थी कि अथॉरिटी फ्लोज डाउनवर्ड्स। जैसे जैसे बॉस आपको अथॉरिटी देता जाता है वैसे वैसे उतनी अथॉरिटी के आप रिस्पॉन्सिबल होते जाते हो, बट द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फ्लोज अपवर्ड्स। तो अगर आपने कुछ भी गड़बड़ कर दी, अगर आपने क्वालिटी में गड़बड़ कर दी, शिपमेंट में गड़बड़ कर दी, डिलीवरी में गड़बड़ कर दी, किसी भी चीज़ में गड़बड़ कर दी, द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इज दैट ऑफ द बॉस। There is no question about it. So the role and responsibility, role has to be very, very clearly defined and you should be very clear about it. मैं ये जो भी बात कर रहा हूँ ना, वो चंडू खाने की नहीं फेंक रहा हूँ। ये सारी बातों से आपकी ऑर्डर, आपकी कंपनी की प्रतिष्ठा, आपका ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड और आपका ऑर्डर रिकॉर्ड और आपके फ्यूचर ऑर्डर्स। आपसे बाइंग एजेंट एक बात बताओ, आप बाइंग एजेंट के साथ बैठ के बड़ी मीठी बातें कर लोगे, या कस्टमर के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव से कर लोगे, या फॉरेन बायर से कर लोगे, भैया बॉटम लाइन तो वही है ना कि भाई माल गया कि नहीं गया। तो जब तक आपका माल नहीं गया आपकी मीठी बातें किस काम आएंगी। सो दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट दैट रोल एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी शुड बी क्लियरली डिफाइंड, सो दैट आप जिस आदमी को जो भी उत्तरदायित्व आपने दिया है वो उत्तरदायित्व पे खरा उतरे। अगर वो ये कहते हैं, इनवेरिएबली ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में ये होता है कि नहीं जी ये तो मेरे को बताया ही नहीं गया, ये तो मेरा काम ही नहीं है, भाई साहब क्या बात कर रहे हो, बताओ कहाँ लिखा है कि ये मेरा काम है। तो फिर आप बिल्कुल झाड़ते रह जाओगे, कुछ नहीं मिलेगा। नाउ वी कम टू इंटर कोऑर्डिनेशन एंड डायनेमिक्स। आपको ये एक कंपनी के ओनर की का उत्तरदायित्व है, उसकी जिम्मेवारी है कि वो अपने इंटर डिपार्टमेंटल डायनेमिक्स में एक औपचारिकता बना के रहे। इनवेरिएबली क्या होता है, लंच का टाइम होता है जी, लंच के बाद क्यूसी मैनेजर और प्रोडक्शन मैनेजर और परचेज वाला जो है, जो भी कर रहा है परचेज को, और सेल्स मैनेजर सारे चाय पीने जाते हैं। ठीक है, हो सकता है कभी उनमें से शाम को एक आध कोई बियर शेयर भी पी रहा हूँ, मैं तो नहीं पीता लेकिन लोग पीते, तो वो उनकी दोस्ती यारी हो जाती है। तो जो दोस्ती यारी हो जाती है वो उसमें कहते हैं यार कोई बात नहीं, तू कर लेना, मैं निपटा लूँ। भाई साहब, ये आपकी जो है ना कोऑर्डिनेशन और डायनेमिक्स, इसको मालिक को ही संभालना है, और जो डंडा देना है या जो कैरेट एंड स्टिक देना है वो मालिक को देना है। और जब तक मालिक इस चीज को नहीं समझाएगा तब तक ये चीज एक ट्रबल सम होने वाली है। नाउ वी कम टू अनदर एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट विच आई ऑलरेडी मेंशन्ड इन ब्रीफ, मैंने थोड़ा सा इसके बारे में जिक्र किया है। जॉब कार्ड एक, जैसे बच्चा पैदा होता है तो हमारे हिंदुस्तान में क्या बनवाते हैं सबसे पहले पंडित से? विशाल भाई क्या बनाते हैं? आप तो ब्राह्मण हो, कुंडली बनवाते हैं ना, कुंडली बनवाते हैं ना, जन्मपत्री बनवाते हैं ना। ये किसी भी प्रोडक्ट की कुंडली है, जन्मपत्री है। जब तक आप जॉब कार्ड नहीं बनाएंगे तब तक मांगलिक योग है, मांगलिक योग आ जाएगा अगर आपने कुछ छोड़ दिया उसमें, और राजयोग आ जाएगा अगर आपने पूरा जॉब कार्ड कर दिया। तो ये कुंडली आपके हाथ में है, इसमें नक्षत्र कुछ नहीं करेंगे, इसमें शनि दशा भी आपके हाथ में है, बृहस्पति और बुध भी आपके हाथ में है, शुक्र भी आपके हाथ में है। नाउ वी कम टू एक्सटर्नल एजेंसी कोऑर्डिनेशन, पैकेजिंग एंड टेस्टिंग। आई कैन टेल यू समथिंग वेरी क्लियरली हियर। हमारा प्रोडक्ट वॉलमार्ट के स्टोर्स में नहीं चला क्योंकि वो ट्रक ड्राइवर का स्टोर था, लेकिन हमने वॉलमार्ट को बहुत माल दिया। अब वॉलमार्ट की एक्सटर्नल पैकेजिंग एजेंसी थी, भाई साहब रुला देते थे आंसुओं से, आंसुओं से। विश्वास मानो, जो एक्सटर्नल पैकेजिंग एजेंसी है, जो बाइंग एजेंट्स हैं, वो कहते थे जी आपको हमने दे दिया कार्ड, उनका वॉलमार्ट का खुद का ऑफिस है, अभी भी है शायद, वो कहते थे कि आप भैया आप निपटो, ये एजेंसी है, इससे बात करो, आपकी माल तैयार है और पैकेजिंग नहीं आई। और पैकेजिंग का भी क्या है, आर्ट वर्क एक जगह से आएगा और एग्जीक्यूशन दूसरी जगह से होगी और प्रिंटिंग तीसरी जगह से होगी और लगाएंगे हम। तो बिल्कुल ही मतलब आप पहले दिन से, मैं अभी बाइंग एजेंसी पे भी आने वाला हूं कि बाइंग एजेंसी से कोऑर्डिनेशन कैसे होनी चाहिए, क्यों होनी चाहिए, किस तरह से हम अकाउंटेबिलिटी रखें बाइंग एजेंट्स की भी और अपनी भी। एक्सटर्नल एजेंसी कोऑर्डिनेशन, पैकेजिंग, टेस्टिंग, इसमें बाइंग एजेंट्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करते हैं। और बेसिक बात यह है कि आप अगर कम्युनिकेशन पहले दिन से बहुत स्ट्रांग रखेंगे तो इसमें आप जीत पाएंगे, वरना ये एक सिंगल चीज हो सकती है आपके डूबने की। क्यों सब गलत कह रहा हूं? नाउ वी कम टू द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट। नाउ वी कम टू व्हाट इज माय फेवरेट टॉपिक। आपके पास एक ऑर्डर आया, उस ऑर्डर में 4 प्रोसेसेस हैं। मान लो एक एम्ब्रॉयडर्ड बॉक्स है, जैसे राजकुमार जी बहुत बढ़िया करते हैं एक्शन वाले, ब्यूटीफुल एम्ब्रॉयडरी के साथ ब्यूटीफुल गत्ते के MDF के डब्बे बनाते हैं, राइट। अब उस MDF डब्बे में क्या क्या इन्वॉल्व है? MDF डब्बे में MDF इन्वॉल्व है, MDF डब्बे में कपड़ा इन्वॉल्व है, उसमें कढ़ाई इन्वॉल्व है, उसमें सैटिन लाइनिंग इन्वॉल्व है, और उसमें मेकिंग इन्वॉल्व है, और फिर उसमें पैकेजिंग इन्वॉल्व है। अब आप अगर इसमें पाथ इवैल्यूएशन और रिव्यू टेक्निक ले लें तो सबसे पहले तो कपड़ा जब आएगा वो बात हो गई। उसके बाद कई बार होता है कि अगर इन्होंने जरदोजी का काम करवा दिया और जरदोजी का काम बहुत ज़्यादा इंट्रिकेट है, और अगर वो बुलंदशहर वाला बंदा या बरेली वाला बंदा इनकी बात नहीं सुन रहा, तो भाई साहब सारा माल तैयार हो जाएगा, वो जो पल्ला है ना जिसपे जरदोजी का काम हो क्या है, वो इन्हें रुला देगा। राजकुमार भाई साहब गलत कह रहा हूँ? जब तक वो जरदोजी का पल्ला नहीं आएगा तो भाई क्या करोगे, क्या बनाओगे? तो ये जो पाथ इवैल्यूएशन रिव्यू टेक्निक है, दिस एंटेल्स एज टू व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट प्रोसेसेस इन्वॉल्व्ड इन द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ प्रोसेसेस। आप क्या क्या चीज आपको चाहिए बनाने के लिए, क्या क्या आपको करना है, और जो जो आपको करना है उन प्रोसेसेस को आप एक के बाद एक नोट कर लें, उनमें कितना टाइम लगेगा उसको नोट कर लें, तो इसमें आपको इनवेरिएबली पता लगेगा कि इन सब प्रोसेसेस में क्रिटिकल पाथ कौन सा है, मतलब कौन सी ऐसी चीज है जो मुझे डिले करने वाली है। तो भाई साहब अपने लौंडे लगा दो उसके पीछे, यार तू बाकी सब छोड़ दे, तू तो इसके पीछे लग जा, या शबीर भाई है या जो मुश्ताक भाई है जो भी है, तू तो इनसे कढ़ाई करवा ले, अपना लौंडा भेजना, लौंडा भेज दो बरेली, कुछ भी कर रहा हो कर लो, लेकिन आप इस चीज को बड़ा क्लियरली देख लीजिए एज टू व्हाट इज योर पाथ इवैल्यूएशन रिव्यू टेक्निक एंड व्हाट इज द क्रिटिकल पाथ। अब इसमें मैं आता हूं, ये क्या चीज है भाई साहब, ये क्या है? बॉटल है। मैं कहता हूं ये बॉटल नहीं है, ये आपका बिजनेस है। आप अपने बिजनेस को बड़े ध्यान से समझें। आपके बिजनेस में ये सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात बता रहा हूं मैं आपको, इसको समझ लीजिए। इसमें पानी भरा हुआ है, पानी तो बहुत सारा भरा हुआ है, लेकिन जब ये बोतल पे आता है तो इसका फ्लो कम हो जाता है। जब फ्लो कम हो जाता है तो आप तो मर गए, क्योंकि आप तो कह रहे हैं जी मेरे पास तो 5 लीटर की बोतल है, 5 लीटर पानी है। भाई साहब निकल तो आपका बहुत कम रहा है। सो व्हाट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड इज व्हाट इज कॉल्ड एज दी बॉटलनेक। आपके किसी भी प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस में जब तक आप बॉटलनेक को आइडेंटिफाई नहीं करेंगे, जब तक आप बॉटलनेक क्या आपकी है, कुछ भी हो सकती है, पैकेजिंग हो सकती है, टेस्टिंग हो सकती है, सप्लायर हो सकता है। कई बार क्या होता है कि कार्टन हो जाता है बॉटलनेक, हमारे मर्चेंडाइजर ने सही टाइम पे कार्टन ऑर्डर नहीं किया, या फिर उसने क्या किया कि जी जब ड्रॉप टेस्टिंग हुई तो ड्रॉप टेस्टिंग में फेल हो गया कार्टन, या फिर उसने साइज सही नहीं बनाया तो साइज छोटा आ गया। तो जब साइज छोटा आ गया तो क्या करोगे? सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से इज बॉटलनेक इन अ प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस कैन बी मल्टीपल। और जब तक इस बॉटलनेक को आइडेंटिफाई नहीं करेंगे, जब तक आप इसके बारे में सॉल्यूशन नहीं निकालेंगे, यू आर इन फॉर मेजर ट्रबल। ठीक है जी। अब हम आ गए मेरे फेवरेट टॉपिक पे। विशाल जी आपकी अटेंशन चाहूंगा और आपकी पैटर्नेज चाहूंगा। कोऑर्डिनेशन विद बायर्स, बाइंग एजेंट्स इन इंडिया ऑफिस। अब एक बात आप समझ लें, बाइंग एजेंट्स आर देयर टू सपोर्ट यू, एंड इट इज अ फैक्ट that without buying agents or without the foreign buyers coordination or without the foreign office who are also like a buying agent, you would not be able to coordinate with the buyer properly, because invariably क्या होता है, buying agent को एक सेंटर बना दिया है कम्युनिकेशन का, बट उसमें आपको शुरू से अपने इंटरेस्ट को सेफगार्ड लेके चलना पड़ेगा। अगर आपकी जो अप्रूवल्स जिस टाइम को आनी है उस टाइम पे आपको अप्रूवल नहीं आती हैं, तो आप क्लियरली एक मेल भेजिए कि भाई साहब जी मेरे को ये 15 मार्च तक आनी थी, आज 20 मार्च हो गई है, मेरी शिप डेट 60 दिन बाद थी, अब मेरी शिप डेट 65 दिन बाद हो गई। डर जाए या मर जाए, आप तो लड़ लो वरना एयर फ्रेट। देखो एक बात बॉटम लाइन समझ लो, बाइंग एजेंट की अकाउंटेबिलिटी जो है ना, बाइंग एजेंट को अपना, मैं मालिक की बात नहीं कर रहा, मैं मर्चेंट की बात कर रहा हूँ, मर्चेंट को अपना जो ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है ना वो शिफ्ट ऑन टाइम का रखना है। वो ये छोटी छोटी बातें भूल जाएगा कि आपकी अप्रूवल नहीं आई, वो उसके लिए छोटी छोटी बातें हैं। आपकी तो जिंदगी है भाई साहब वो, लेकिन उसके लिए छोटी सी बात है। वो कहेगा जी मुझे नहीं पता, आपको जैसे करना हो कर लो, मैं तो ये जानता हूँ कि आपका तो ये 15 मई को ऑर्डर जाना है, जाना है तो जाना है। तो अगर आप उसे, अब ऐसा कोई भी अनरीजनेबल नहीं है कि अगर आप उसे पहले, द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग, आपको सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी इस बात को याद रखना है कि आपको जो कुछ भी कहना है, भाई साहब आपकी भाषा बड़ी अच्छी है, आपकी बोली बड़ी अच्छी है, आप बड़े वाक्पटुता के मास्टर हो, घर में रखो उसको। आपको जो कहना है आप लिख के दो, आप जब तक लिख के नहीं दोगे आप घूम जाओगे। सिमिलरली बाइंग एजेंट अगर आप नोट कर लें, आपको हर चीज लिख के देता है। सो मैं इसमें बड़ी सकारात्मक बात कर रहा हूँ, कोई नेगेटिविटी से बात नहीं कर रहा। बट इफ यू वांट टू प्रोटेक्ट, एंड आई एम सॉरी टू यूज दोज वर्ड्स, इफ यू वांट टू प्रोटेक्ट योर बैक साइड, then you have to be extremely careful that your deadlines, that your accountability जो आपको चाहिए वो clearly understood हो जाए और बाइंग एजेंट और आपके बीच में कोऑर्डिनेशन बिल्कुल परफेक्ट रही। इसमें अब क्या बात आती है, इसमें एक और बात आती है जो मैं अभी आगे बताऊंगा आपको। इसमें बात ये आती है कि जी कलर डिफरेंस। अब हम जैसे हैंडमेड पेपर बनाते थे, हैंडमेड प्रोडक्ट्स बनाते थे, हमारी प्लस माइनस 10% कलर वेरिएंस है, तो हम तो सीधा काम करते थे, जो शीटें बनी उसमें से 3, 4, 5, 6 शीटें एक बैंड बनाया, कलर बैंड, और भेज दिया कि लाला जी ये सबसे कम है और ये सबसे ज़्यादा है। सिमिलरली थिकनेस का बना के दे दिया। यही बात मेटल में भी राजी होती है, यही बात कपड़े में भी राजी होती है, यही बात वुड में भी राजी होती है। मेक अ कलर बैंड, मेक a band of quality reference and send it to them so that the QC when he comes, he does not come with the product alone, he comes with that color band. Otherwise you would fall into trouble. ठीक है? अब हम आए communicate and negotiate revised deadlines. आप विश्वास मानो, मैं जो एक एक बात कह रहा हूँ ना आपको, ये 30 साल के तजुर्बे से है। भाई बंदी में, प्यार प्रेम में, कंधे पे हाथ रख के, दोस्ती यारी में, कई बार मैं या कोई भी एक्सपोर्टर अल्टीमेटली क्या होता है, उसको तो सबसे बड़ी बात आप ये समझो, आज की तारीख में इतना मैकेनाइज्ड हो गया है। आपकी क्रिसमस शिपमेंट है, क्रिसमस शिपमेंट के लिए इन स्टोर डेट आपकी 1 अक्टूबर है। 1 अक्टूबर का मतलब आपका यहाँ से 15 अगस्त को जाने ही जाना चाहिए, तो आप मर गए। 15 अगस्त को तो शिप्ड ऑन बोर्ड होना चाहिए भाई साहब, क्योंकि उसके डीसीज में भी जाना है, उसके डीसीज के बाद उसके वेयर हाउसेज में भी जाना है। तो आप अपना बैकवर्ड फ्लो चार्ट एक बना लो, और बैकवर्ड फ्लो चार्ट बना के अपनी जो आपकी डिलीवरी लाइंस हैं उनको बड़े केयरफुली नेगोशिएट करके, अगर आपको किसी चीज में बसूड़ा आ रहा है, आप क्रिसमस एयर शिपमेंट हो जाएगी आपकी। बड़े प्यार से क्या कहते थे कि जी मैं नहीं जानता, बायर ने कहा है एयर शिपमेंट कर दो। अब एयर शिपमेंट का क्या मतलब होता है लाला जी, कोई समझता है? मैं आई वाज एक्सपेक्टिंग अ बिगर गैदरिंग, बट दैट इज ओके। गौतम आजा, सच अ प्लेजर टू सी यू। एयर शिपमेंट का क्या मतलब होता है? एयर शिपमेंट का मतलब होता है, गौतम जी एयर शिपमेंट का क्या मतलब होता है? जितने का माल नहीं है उतने की एयर शिपमेंट हो गई।
डिपेंड्स या
मोस्टली यार, अब आप हाई प्रॉफिट पे बेचते हो उसकी बात अलग है यार। जितने जोक्स अपार्ट, जितने का माल हो गया उतने की एयर शिपमेंट हो गई। सो यू आर स्क्रूड, यू आर पेइंग आउट ऑफ योर पॉकेट। सो एयर शिपमेंट हैज टू बी अवॉइडेड एट एनी कॉस्ट। उसके लिए आप प्रोएक्टिव, एक वर्ड आप लोग याद करें, बड़ा जरूरत है, प्रोएक्टिव। प्रोएक्टिव मीन्स, हमारे जेरोक्स में जब मैं नौकरी करता था तो हमें प्रोएक्टिव मैनेजमेंट स्किल्स का एक सेक्शन दिया जाता था। इट वाज अ बिग कोर्स। हाँ सर, हाँ कुछ मेरे से कह रहे हैं? अच्छा, तो प्रोएक्टिव मैनेजमेंट स्किल्स हमें दिया जाता था, दैट यू हैव टू बी प्रोएक्टिव। क्या कह रहे हो विशाल भाई?
नहीं, तो आपसे बात है, गौतम जी बोला।
अच्छा ठीक है, तो प्रोएक्टिव मैनेजमेंट स्किल्स जो है, दैट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग। यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम बिफोर हैंड व्हाट द डेडलाइंस आर। Okay, now we come to 3 counters to be made, one with the buyer, one with the buying agent, and one with us. Now we come to quality control. Quality control, the parameters have to be understood. AQL 2.5 तो होता ही है normally, वो तो है ही, but quality control में आपको किस किस aspect को करना है, including the drop test from 9 edges of the container. हॉरिजॉन्टल, वर्टिकल, साइडवेज, एजवेज, फलाना ढिकाना, वो जान ले लेगा आपकी अगर एक भी चीज में थोड़ा सा भी लफड़ा हो गया। अब हम आते हैं पीपीएम। पीपीएम को मैं आपको बता ही चुका हूं ऑलरेडी। एक डॉक्यूमेंट हमारे पास हमेशा तैयार होना चाहिए, एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड एसओपी। SOP is a standard operating procedure which is like your Bible. सुबह उठते हो, भैया मैं तो उठ के ब्रश किए बिना कुछ नहीं कर पाता, तो सुबह उठने के बाद ब्रश करना ही करना है और टॉयलेट तो जाना ही जाना है, तो स्टैंडर्ड ऑपरेटिंग प्रोसीजर है आपकी दिनचर्या का। उसी तरह से आपके किसी भी ऑर्डर के रिसीट का स्टैंडर्ड ऑपरेटिंग प्रोसीजर चाहिए। Then we come to understanding variables like color, quality, thickness, quality band, variance for tolerance with different samples. अब मैं आ गया अपने प्रेजेंटेशन की लास्ट स्लाइड पर। ये मेरे को इजलाल ने ये स्लाइड ऐड करवाई। इजलाल बोला जी ये बड़ी फैंसी टेम्पलेट है, तो मैंने ऐड कर दिया। इट इज़ PDCA साइकिल। वन इज प्लान, द अदर इज डू, थर्ड इज चेक एंड लास्ट इज एक्ट। सो ये आपका समराइज करके ये आपका लब्बे लुआब हो गया, जिसे उर्दू में कहते हैं। शायद कोई मेरा मुस्लिम भाई यहाँ बैठा नहीं है, बट ये लब्बे लुआब हो गया। ठीक है सर, अब मेरी प्रेजेंटेशन कंप्लीट हो गई। आपको कोई सवाल पूछना है तो मेरा सौभाग्य होगा आपके किसी सवाल का जवाब देने का।
Thank you, Ravi ji. Thank you very much. Anyone? Any questions for Ravi ji?
लोग ही नहीं बैठे सर, कोई जवाब क्या पूछेगा।
So I think we have come to the end of the presentation that we had today. When we spoke on sustainability, we spoke on circularity, and a very insightful presentation by Mr. Sharan on what and what not to do in exports. Now, before we conclude, we have been joined in by Mr. Vishal Dhingra. Dhingra sir, would you like to add to what has been said by Mr. Sharan?
Thank you, Rahul sir. Actually, there's nothing to add after what Ravi ji said. And I've been very fortunate. I've been working with him for 30 years. Whatever time he has spent in the industry, so have I. We started our careers together. And whatever he has been explaining today, we have all learned or experienced it together probably, all of us here on this side of the dais also. And I wish more people had joined to understand what exactly happens in real life terms. And they will learn. At times we just have to let them learn and not teach them. It's a very important thing what I've learned in my career. When I just leave people at my BA and say, you go and learn out, I will not teach you anything today. So it is time for us to hang up our boots and say, boss, ab teri bari. Go, learn the hard way, and if after that if you need something, I'm there for you. Yeah, exactly. So that is what I have done that before in the past. Ravi sir, but people at times are not very interested. So for me, it is that boss, okay, fine, let them learn, their way, and which is the right way. But only when you burn your fingers and hand, you will realize that this is the right way to do something. And again, thank you very much, pleasure, and thanks everybody here. And it's actually pleasure seeing OP sir after a long time. I need to catch up with him also. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you.
So before we conclude, we have some mementos to be given. So I would request the panel here on the dais to felicitate Mr. Noel, our faculty on sustainability and circularity. I would request Mr. Malhotra, Mr. Pulaska and Mr. Dhingra. I would also like to felicitate Ravi. Thank you very much for joining us, and we have some more sessions tomorrow. This is the leaflet, you can go through this, and we'll be back tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. in this venue only. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining.
Congratulations.